Yo, 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 it's Tuesday night. You know what that means. It's 8:30. It's time for the hockey happy hour. You can only find on A2D radio, where things keep growing and we keep blowing and we keep going up.
Oh my God! I'm embarrassed! He's flying!
Welcome in. It's almost time.
Edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. We are live on A2DRadio.com, and tonight we don't have any playoff games to talk about, unfortunately. However, though, we do have two conference finals to preview, and we also have, of course, some front office action from the Flyers that we'll dive into as well. But for everyone out there, I am Matt Sitsuti, along with the Darkwing, Brian Daly.
Definitely could have phrased that intro better.
Yes, I was thinking that myself.
I was thinking that after I said it, and I'm like, wait, hold on. That didn't sound right.
Oh, well, that's all right. While Brian keeps on blowing, I'll introduce the rest of the hosts right here. None other than the broken one, Rob Povia.
Happy birthday, Ma.
Happy birthday, Povey's mom.
Happy birthday, Mama Povia.
Happy birthday.
Right on down here, Mr. Blue Shirt, Mr. Broadway, Mr. Switzerland, none other than Big Bad Brad Ryer.
I'm not going to make any comment about anything regarding sales. You know, whatever came out, I didn't really hear it, so I can't make a comment.
It's all right. That's what instant replay is for.
Just hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that share button, let everybody know about us. Come on now.
I guess you could say the answer is blowing in the wind.
Sure, let's go with that.
Yeah, there you go.
All right then, and as always, we are brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, the doc, Dr. Paul Vidal. Listen, if you got any aches and pains going on out there and you really need to get it checked out, he's the perfect one to go to. Go to the doc, he'll take care of you. He's got great teams in Burlington and Cherry Hill, New Jersey. All you got to do is make an appointment at www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com. And after you have a couple of sessions, you won't be feeling that pain no more. You will feel good as new and ready to kick ass and take names as always. All right, then. On to the poll question, gents, and that is brought to you by Baggio's Bread. If you got any big parties planned, the playoffs are not over. Just because there's no games on tonight, that doesn't mean that there isn't going to be games on in the near future. There certainly will be. And since we are getting to the conference finals, we are just two matchups away from the big one, the Stanley Cup Final. We're down to our final four. It's getting tense now. But if you want to have a party to celebrate the occasion, Baggio's Bread's perfect for it. They're located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. They have the home of the best stuffed breads, tomato pies, sandwiches, cutlets, meatballs. Mention A2D and you get 10% off of your in-store purchase. So check out Baggio's Bread. And the poll question for tonight: the hiring of Keith Jones and Danny Briere will bring glory back to the Flyers. Agree or disagree? Well, this is a loaded poll question, especially for the fam out here, and even for all of us here on the show. So, who would love to do the honors and kick us off on this fun little journey?
I'll do it. Pick me.
All right, Dales. Since you are the current reigning champion here for trivia and for just basically the full-on fandemonium here at A2D, I feel like Bry should lead the way. Go ahead, Bry.
And if you don't know what he's talking about, we just introduced a new show called Fandemonium. It's going to be Monday nights at 9:30. It's about an hour-ish show doing nothing but sports trivia. Going to go through all the hosts at A2D. We're eventually going to bring in A2D members, so the membership's going to have a little bit more to it. We're going to bring in some of the more dedicated fans as well. It's going to be a good time for everybody. We're going to do A2D versus fans versus all that other stuff. So it's going to be a great time. Check them out Monday, 9:30. I believe it's Ritz and Vespi that are hosting that show. So check it out, Monday nights. So I'm going to agree to this poll. I think that these two guys absolutely can bring this organization back to glory. It's two guys that understand the organization very well, guys who understand the ownership aspect very well. I mean, Danny's been in the front office for a couple of years now under Chuck Fletcher, getting a call now. So I totally believe that Danny Briere. I mean, I still have a lot of question marks surrounding Danny. But I think with the addition of Keith Jones as the team's president, I think that's going to help solidify Danny a little bit more and give him a little more confidence in the decisions that he's going to have to make as a GM. Again, this goes back to these guys being with the organization as long as they have, understanding the fan base, what they want, what they feel like that the team needs. Like Keith Jones has been broadcasting throughout the league for the last few years. He's been broadcasting for the Flyers. He's been broadcasting nationally. He understands this game so well, and he understands some of the players throughout the league, and he understands a lot of these teams as well. So I think he has the best idea of how to build this team and where to start. Big thing for me with where this team has to start is getting healthy, getting all their guys back, and then going from there. That's big because Coots is the leader of this team now. This is his team moving forward as far as I'm concerned. He may not wear the C, but this is his team. Got to get Cam Atkinson back because he's your shoot first guy. Great leader on the bench. Great guy to have some of these younger kids learn from, especially guys like Frost, Tippett, who've taken steps forward last year. Noah Cates, another kid who's taken a step forward, last year as well. Sorry, God popped up and he just threw me off.
What's God have to say?
Well,
here,
God,
hold on. God is saying, hello. Can someone tell Don that I am sorry that the lottery was not in his favor? I do not grant prayer requests for lotteries. This is Xenu and the Flying Spaghetti Monster's responsibility.
Thank you, God.
Well, God, that explains why you didn't give it to me and the Anaheim Ducks. This is the second time you screwed us. This is not once, but twice. We're generational talent. What did we ever do as the fan base and just the team? Is it because they were owned by Disney first?
It might have been because of that. It might have been because of that third film. To be completely honest with you, that might have been the reason why. He was fine with the first two, then you stretched it with that third one there. That got him pretty mad.
Honestly, I like the third one the best because Paul Correa was in it. But anyway, I think these two, as long as Paul Holmgren and Bobby Clark stay out of their ear, have the tools to be able to bring this team back to glory. So I agree with this poll.
All right then. Brad or Rob, which one wants to jump in here and throw down with this one?
Hey, if it's all right with you, Brad, I'll jump in since I'm in agreement with...
Be my guest. Okay. Because I was going to disagree, so that's good. Go ahead.
You bastard.
Very cool. Well, I'll add on to Brian's argument and hopefully build upon it. In response to the poll, oh, hell yeah. I absolutely agree. Friday's press conference erased any doubts I had about that. This is clearly Danny Briere's show in terms of rebuilding the Flyers, and he's passionate about it. You heard it in his voice. Comcast Spectacor CEO Dan Hilferty fully trusts he could pull it off, and he's all in. He showed it in that conference. But I read this awesome article with an interview with Jonesy after getting the president of hockey operations job, and he just had a lot of good things to say, a lot of things that I wanted to hear from the new president that really carries the vision for any organization. First off, this was the only team he considered to be president for. When they reached out to see if he was interested, he thought about it for literally like 10 seconds before answering yes. I like guys who want to be here. He wants to be here. He's been around this team, to Brian's point. He's confident in Danny being Torts. And he states that they are all on the same page already with this mutual respect and support. You see that? That's vital. He points out, and this is a great point that he makes in the article, that there's less time for transition here, especially with Danny being in a front office role for a while now and being in tune, especially with the amateur scouting department. Plus, Jonesy has been around this team for a while too, seeing, identifying the firm idea of what this team's strengths and weaknesses are, what this organization needs moving forward. He says they have no choice but to build this thing back up. And that's the attitude that I wanted to hear. They have a plan and they know what they're looking for. And it's Danny B and his job to provide Torts with the tools necessary to get this right. And that's what they want to do. And I mean, the key thing here is that the Flyers have not been important in this city for a while, and that bothers him. He feels the Eagles are the model and do it right. They have a similar cap situation to the Flyers, but they drafted extremely well. He gave Jalen Hurts as an example. They'd like to target like a Braden Point-like player in a third round, ideally. Who wouldn't? But the Eagles, they know who they want to be, and that's what the Flyers want to be. They want to create that identity. And he goes specifically, we'll never share the spotlight with them, but we would much rather be in their shadow than forgotten about. And lastly, boys, he points out that he brings connections from around the league to both his playing and broadcast careers. That's a big component of what he can help Danny with. That's what he can bring to the table. But Jonesy made it clear that Danny will be the number one person in building out this staff. So just in summation, boys, win, lose, or shootout, it's going to be a process. Hate to use that word right now, but it is. But the key thing here is that the culture and the environment of accountability is just going to further solidify with these moves here in Philly with these two gentlemen at the helm. And I really feel that success will not be far behind.
All right then, brother. Before we jump into Brad,
Beautifully said.
throw the
You,
throw the love out to the fam who have been throwing out their opinion on this question, as I would assume they would. Flyers fan 1995 saying agree 100%. Larry Aquilino saying agree. Derek S. saying disagree. Same stuff we'll get with the previous GM and presidents that were former Flyers. Kim Kirshner saying agree. Oh, sorry, hashtag agree. So a little bit more emphasis on the agree there when you throw the hashtag out there. just wanted to make sure we got that right. Meanwhile, Swoopy saying, I love the Keith Jones hiring. Oh, and Bri, God said he will talk to Xenu for his answer.
I appreciate that, God. I really do. I need to know.
Yeah, he's going to do you a solid. So just wanted to let you know that. All right, then. Now that we have a little bit of the fan here, so far, somewhat split, some not so much. Mean Metal Mike saying agree, love Jones and Briere, has the mindset for the young talent. Got this guy, Brian Daly, he just letting everybody know about, whether you want to agree or disagree about this poll question, which you can for the rest of the evening, of course, give your thoughts on that. Since we aren't talking about something that's happening in the moment, there's a lot of time to think about this, a lot of time to let it simmer in your head and let you see whether or not you like this move or you disagree with this move. Jake is saying, I'm praying it works out. But now we go over to a man who's on the outside looking in of the whole Flyers operation, Mr. Brad Briere. Take it away, my man. Do you agree or disagree?
I disagree. Okay, and I'm going to tell you why. The problem with the Flyers is that they've been basically hiring, it's like the Good Old Boys network continues to go on. I mean, I'm not saying who they should hire because I don't really know who's out there and who's available. But I would have thought twice about bringing in Keith Jones because Keith Jones has no experience running a hockey team, and as far as Briere is concerned, I mean, okay, he's been the assistant general manager. If you want to promote from within, that's fine. But I'm just wondering if the same politics are going to be from above. I think they would have been better off bringing in somebody who's had some more experience and has been proven a winner as far as at the GM level than bringing in a rookie GM. I mean, I understand he's assistant GM, but he never had the final say, and that's where my problem comes in. And Keith Jones, listen, I like Keith Jones. I think he's the funniest guy I've ever heard watching TV. He knows hockey inside out. I'm not doubting that, but there's a difference between watching all the games and seeing all the players, and knowing all the players is a good thing, but to be the general manager, rather to be the president of operations, I don't know about that. I would have felt a little bit more comfortable if you had a former GM, just so Danny could kind of bounce things off somebody, because I don't know that Keith Jones necessarily, because Keith Jones is going to have to be the final say on big moments, on big trades, on drafts and everything. He may agree or let Briere just do what he has to do. I get that, but wouldn't it have been a better idea to have the two heads are better than one syndrome?
Yeah, you make a good point, Brandon. And certainly having two rookies there is might be a problem.
The thing is, too, with, this kind of a move, well, I mean, even so, having two rookies there, I mean, we saw even with an experienced person in the president's position, look at what happened with Pittsburgh. You had Hextall, who had no real GM experience in Pittsburgh. He's going into a situation that, he's gotten fired from the Flyers, and now he's got to try and have his second ever GM role where he's in charge. Burke had the experience behind him, maybe teach him some things and have it going, and they both got fired. So, but here's the thing, though. I think Swoopy does say this best. Get rid of the advisors, no more Holmgren, no more Clarkey, cut it all out. And that's where the real problem is. It's like, I don't know why Holmgren should have any say on what's going on with this team, and Clarkey too. You guys had your shot. You had your time. You were in charge for a very good period of time with the Flyers. There's no reason for you to be advisors to this team. It's over. Your time is done. Let the new kids, let the new generation step into the front office here and take charge here, and that's the one thing that bothers me. It's not so much that Danny and Jonesy are former Flyers. I honestly don't have a problem with that. And the reason why I don't have a problem with that, and I know why people do have an issue with it, for anyone who feels like they should have gone outside again, I honestly don't think that really matters at this point, because no one can really use that excuse anymore, because you went outside to go get Chuck Fletcher and it turned into a disaster. So again, I would say let's not let that bother us, because we've tried both sides of it. So let's give Jonesy and Briere a shot. And Briere was going to be the GM for Montreal there at first, but at the 11th hour, they decided to change their mind, and they rolled with who'd they roll with? Who's in charge of Montreal now? I
don't remember.
Forget his name. I'm sure someone remembers. If you remember, please let me know, because I am actually drawing a blank at the worst possible time. But in the end, though.
Hughes?
That's it.
Okay. Yeah. That's who it was. Thank you. But
I looked it up.
Point being is that he was being very heavily considered until the 11th hour. So,
Sure. Right.
Let's give him a shot. Let's see what they can do.
Well, touching upon both sides of the coin that you bring up, Maddie, now, and that Brad brought up as well, is that, you can see fans saying, is this the old boys club here again? Especially Jonesy, a player that played under Clark and Holmgren. How is he going to be, tuning them out? Well, he's a pretty steadfast fellow. We know that. But he actually touched upon this in the article, and he he quoted Torts from that presser, and he goes, what do people think, that they're diseased? But in his opinion, he says that this is different, and it's different in multiple ways. Number one, the way the three of them, and what he means is, Torts, Danny, and himself, are going to work as a triumvirate. We're going to work together. Tortorella is going to have a lot to say about player personnel. His opinion is going to be heard. I appreciate what he brings, his knowledge of the game, and the way he holds his players accountable. He's a fan. And Danny, he did a lot of his playing in different cities, too. It wasn't just here in Philadelphia. If you want to talk about another former player taking a role here as GM or in the front office for the Philadelphia Flyers, it was an important part of who he is. It's a unique city. It's not an easy place. It's a tough place. And you have to have thick skin, and you have to have a willingness to try to do what's right at every turn. You're going to be held accountable. We recognize that. We welcome that. We want to prove to our fans that we're doing this for them. This is not us. This is not my team. This is our team. And that's the message that we're going to get across to them. I want to try to win some games now and have some fun doing it, but at the same time, live through the agony of defeat. Go home, not sleep at night because of it, and then try to fix it. That's the plan on his end. He wants to build something to where they're contending for a long time. That just made that quote. I had to read the full quote out because that made the hair on the back of my neck stand up, the few ones that are still left.
John saying, what's up, guys? I love what I heard this morning. It won't happen overnight, but he is hopeful in a 2-3 year period. I'm good. I heard that Mitchkov is also slipping because it will be 2 years before he's coming over. Right. Brian's throwing up 3.
He's not going to be available until 2026 at least.
Interesting. And we've got Benny's Nation saying, what's up? What's up, Benny?
Yo, Benny. Where you been?
How you been, brother?
Yo, brother.
Oh, little fun fact for you guys.
And Greg saying, what's up, fellas? What's up, Greg? Yes, Brian.
So the night that Keith Jones got hired, him and Eddie Olczyk and a couple other guys were in the restaurant I was working at that night.
Nice.
They were out celebrating. Yeah.
Nice. That's it'll be interesting too, because obviously since Jonesy's going to be taking over the operations here for Philadelphia, he won't be doing broadcasting moving forward. So it's like, it's going to be weird not seeing Jonesy on broadcast. And that's not just for the Flyers. That's for everything. ESPN as well. It's like
he's finishing now. He's with TNT. He's finishing out this playoffs now, which is kind of weird. I don't know. Like that's.
It's just going to be strange. It really will be next year.
Well, I mean, think of it this way. I mean, he still has a contract to finish out. It's not like they're going to just absolutely terminate it. He probably still wants to finish out the playoffs too.
Isn't Tocchet still on TV as well?
No, he's coaching Vancouver.
No, because Tocchet.
I know he is, but didn't he? After the season was over, he came back. He was on TNT a couple of times.
Oh, I haven't seen him.
Oh yeah, he has done some panels. You're right. He did do some intermission panels.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just, he could still. I mean, he could still do that until until the playoffs are over. I mean, that doesn't take that much of his time. The draft isn't until the end of June. So
interesting.
Right. Still a little bit on that. We got depressed Oilers fan 978.
Ooh, I know the answer to this one
saying, what next? Okay, bye.
I know the answer to this one too. Goaltending. Get a goaltender. Get a goaltender. Solidify the defense. Stop relying so much on the power play. Got to figure out ways to score 5-on-5. You can't score 5-on-5, you're not going to win hockey games. That's why Vegas beat them. Because Vegas figured out they can keep them 5-on-5.
That sounds so familiar.
It's going to eliminate.
That sounds so familiar.
It's going to eliminate so much trouble that the Oilers bring. Because the Oilers are very top heavy. They're very top heavy. And they're incredibly talented. But goaltending, defense, and figuring out ways to score 5-on-5. If they can figure that out, there's no way that they can't be a Stanley Cup champion in the next year or two.
Let's see here. Benny's saying, but he needs to earn the respect of the GMs across the league, obviously referring to Danny. Well, it's going to be a challenge. I mean, this being his first GM role in the league. But you know what? I think that Danny can do it. I think that he's been saying a lot of the right things. Now, yes, I am well aware saying and doing are two very different things. We've heard a lot of people say the right things. And how many times have they followed through on any of that shit? Usually never. But let's give Danny a shot and let's see what he can do. Yes, does he have to earn respect? Yeah, but I think he's already got some because of him having had some experience in other positions. And also on top of that as well, being a really great player does earn you a little bit of respect from other GMs as well, because you've been out there on the ice and you've done it. Not that other GMs haven't. There's plenty of GMs that were former players, but still, there is that still sense of he already has some respect, but I know what you mean. He's got to get the respect of, well, can he be a GM like I am? Or, can he handle this the way or can I pull him into a stupid trade? I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying.
Wouldn't you be worried, Matt? Wouldn't you be worried if Lou Lamoriello called him to make a trade? I would be. And maybe he might hang up the phone. Maybe he might be smart. Maybe he might be smart and not even talk to him. But I mean, if he has to deal with guys like Lou Lamoriello, who've been, an old fox that's been around a long time and basically knows the league inside out and might be able to pick his brain, or Barry Trotz, or some of these guys who've been around forever and really know the league, I'd be a little nervous about it. Maybe it's just me, but there's a reason. It's just like bringing in Mark Messier to be the head coach for the Rangers. Okay, why? That would be the stupidest thing the Rangers ever did.
One thing I think Jonesy brings to the table, though, is that not only has he been around the league and made these connections when he's talking to guys like Lou Lamoriello and other coaches around the league in terms of getting, his pregame notes together. And he's a charming dude. He always likes hamming it up with the boys. So there's some relationships there for sure. But I think what ultimately it ties back to is playing days, and he grew up with a lot of these guys too. You know what I mean? So there could be a lot of past relationships that I'm not even privy to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm just trying to say I just don't know about God. Both of them have no experience in their roles, really.
Right.
I mean, the buck never stopped with them.
Right.
You're
not wrong. I'm just being a hopeful Flyer fan.
I know. Listen, for your guys' sake, I hope you're right. I mean, it's no fun seeing them at the bottom of the division. It's more fun to go out there and we play them when it really matters. And when we beat them, not sit there and say, "Oh, thank God we beat the worst team in the league." Otherwise it'd be a complete embarrassment. I'd rather be saying, "Get those mother," blah, 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 that kind of thing
for sure. Yeah,
it's not a rivalry when one team is down on its luck and the other team the other teams are way above them. It's just it's no fun when the Flyers aren't involved. I mean, like them or hate them, it's no fun if they're not involved at all, and you want them to be involved.
And I get
it was the same vice versa too. You know what I mean? Like when the Rangers were down and out and rebuilding. You know what I mean? Like it's great when they're
every team has to. Yeah, every team needs to. Every team has to go through rebuilding. It's not. This isn't like it like nobody else has had to go through it. But hopefully, can impact signing this summer, and maybe they get a couple. It could make the team and difference.
KZ 1994. Just so you know, we're talking Flyers because this is a hockey show.
He does go on to say, though, that the pick was traded. So I think he was also making a joke in his own right, too, there.
But I mean, Brad, I get your hesitation on it. Like, I really do. But sometimes, you've tried to proven guys, you've tried the guys that have been around a while, maybe getting, and this is something I've been preaching for a couple of years now, fresh perspective, fresh blood. These guys are tied to the organization, and there could be some how can I persuasion from some advisors, but I mean this is fresh perspective. These guys have they've been around a long time and they were good players in their roles within the organization, within the league. But it's fresh eyes are great. There's nothing wrong with it. And when you have the same kind of results from guys who have been here or within the league a while in president role, GM role, whatever, maybe it's time to bring in some new, fresh perspective because they may see something or think a way that somebody else who's been in the league for however many years might not think. And to Rob's point earlier, if Tortorella is going to be involved and it's going to essentially be a tripod, that could be good things.
That
could
would be
mean
good.
A lot of good things moving forward. Yeah.
That would be if they let Tortorella have an impact on what they're doing, because obviously they want to get Tortorella's type of player, because Tortorella probably wants to build the team a certain way, and these guys obviously have to listen to him and do what he asks them to do. Otherwise, he's not going to be successful as a coach.
So I will say, when you said persuasion, I could not help but think to myself, so when you say persuade someone, does that mean you get like a high-priced hooker and you just tell them, hey, man, here, she's all yours, and can I get that second-round pick from you and those 2 D-men that I've been talking about for the past 2 days? I can?
Yeah.
Awesome. Have fun, my good man. Have fun.
I wouldn't put it past Jonesy. Well, so the finalists were him and Eddie Olchuk, right?
Yeah.
Has he been a president or GM in this league before?
I don't think so.
Eddie
So it seemed like their modus operandi was going with a new person for the position. Who would you boys have rather had?
I would have taken either or and been happy.
Yeah.
Because both guys know the league. They've been around. You learn so much as a broadcaster from, like you were saying, Rob, from pregame, doing notes, talking to coaches, talking to front office personnel, getting ready for these games. You learn so much. And I think that's why I'm okay. I would have been okay with either or, because both guys do it. They worked on the same network. And I wouldn't be surprised with the Penguins having their president of player operations open, that they went after Eddie Olchuk. Bring him back to Pittsburgh.
Maybe they
it wouldn't
did.
surprise me one bit. These guys, it's not like it used to be. These guys have been around, not just as a player, but as, media. And sometimes you learn more in the media than you do just sitting there watching a game.
Yeah,
because you get
from the outside. Yeah.
Right. You're right. It's everything is different about this game. And I love it to death. But we'll see. Time will tell on how good this is going to turn out for Philly.
I could tell you somebody who would have been good for the Flyers, but they wouldn't do it because he's not anyway in part of the old gang. Mark Crawford. Guy is coached in this league. He's won the Stanley Cup with the Avalanche. He he knows all the players. He's now coaching, I think, in juniors. So he knows all the young players. I think he may have been a pretty good hire too. I just, I would have preferred to have somebody that had a little experience, as president. I'm sure Jonesy will do fine. I hope for your guys' sake he does. I don't know what kind of a talent evaluator he is.
That's what Danny's strength is, though, because that's how he came into the organization in terms of a front office level, was working with advanced scouting and having that experience with the juniors like Mark Crawford would have brought. By the way, I agree with your point there. That would have been a good hire as well, because I think he would add to that. But I think what's key, the missing element that Danny has, is the connections. And I think that's what where Eddie Olchuk brings.
Exactly. And who's to say that Mark Crawford would want to be in that position. Maybe he just
He may. I
he's
mean, he
still
may.
coaching now. So you
It was
know
a
Yeah.
good suggestion. Yeah.
no, it
Yeah,
absolutely
no,
is.
no. Listen, I was trying to think of somebody. Again, because I don't really know who's available. I thought of Mark Crawford. I just wanted to see if he was still in the NHL somewhere. And it turns out I think he's coaching some team called the Spitfires.
Oh, the
In-
Windsor
Wow.
Spitfires.
Oh,
Whoever they are, I don't know who they are, but
Very good junior hockey team, very good junior hockey program out there
Okay.
in the Ontario Hockey League.
okay. Well, and again, I saw junior hockey, and I'm saying to myself, well, this guy probably knows. I mean, he could definitely help out with the draft. That's for sure.
Yeah.
He gets to see all the play. I'm just saying, guys, listen. If I'm going to say that I don't know that I'm sure that I like it, I got to at least have somebody to bring to the table. He's the guy I thought of.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, oh man, this guy does have a a connection to the young players. And now, does he have a connection to a lot of players in the league still? He probably does, because I think the last place he coached was the Canucks, and it wasn't that long ago, was it? When did he last coach in the NHL? Wasn't he after Vigneault?
I'll tell you in a second. Give me.
I don't think so. I think it was. If I had to guess, I would have thought it was between 2010 and 2014, somewhere in that area. But I could be wrong.
Swoopy, while we're looking that up, Swoopy's saying Flyers from here need to make moves to find the type of players that have the skills or the attributes to play to a certain style and system that will then allow the team to plan and want to play that style and system and have an identity.
Right. And according to that Jonesy interview, Ryan, I think that's exactly like they're bringing the plan. Like, get ready to get excited because they're sharing that vision, getting the guys that are best for Tort's system. He has as equal say in that triumvirate of them, right? And the only thing I'll say is to Brad's point is that you can't get enough advanced scouting, especially with this draft coming up. So, that's where I hope that Danny can excel for this team. But a guy that's working in the junior hockey league obviously would have been able to bring that to the table.
Let's see here. Kim saying we are in desperate need of talent in front of the goalie. And that's been a big glaring problem. The defense was very frustrating to watch this year for the Flyers, and it left poor Carter Hart and Sandstrom and everybody out there on an island some nights. It was rough, but
So yeah, he's not even coaching in juniors anymore.
Really,
he's coaching over in Europe.
Oh,
interesting.
The ZSC Lions in Zurich.
Oh, I thought it said the Spitfires. Okay, I misread it. My mistake.
For the National League over in Switzerland.
Okay.
He's currently under investigation by the Swiss League for homophobic slur.
Well, then obviously
I remember that story. Sorry.
Yeah. No.
I forgot about that.
But yeah,
referee.
So obviously, if anyone had any interest in him, that clearly was shot the moment he made those comments. Like, nope, we don't want that PR nightmare. That is not happening.
I didn't know about that. Didn't even know.
The last team also that he coached for in the NHL was the Ottawa Senators.
Oh, it was Ottawa. I thought it was Vancouver. Okay.
He did Vancouver earlier in his coaching career.
Okay. He did coach Vancouver though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let's see here. Yes, Swoopy, I did shave. And it is not because the Seattle Kraken got eliminated. Actually, it is because my graduation is tomorrow. So that's why I did. So anyway, Kim saying we fans just need to show patience. We'll bring the Sir Stanley home within a couple of years. Get ready for an exciting future.
Love it, Kim. Love it, Kim.
I love that. That's the kind of confidence you want. That's the kind of vibes we want. We want to get some positive vibes, especially after the rough years we've had. We've had a couple of really bad years. Actually, 3 bad years, come to think about it. So anything positive is what we want here. Yeah, let's see. Larry's saying the Rangers might be a good team, but they haven't capitalized on it. Don't get that can of worms open. Brad nearly got thrown off the air a few weeks ago after the Rangers got themselves eliminated to the Devils.
That's not true.
They
That's not
haven't
true.
capitalized on it. They got to the conference finals last year.
That is
So,
true. They did get to the third round.
That's totally not true. Yeah, they got knocked out in the first round this year. Bad year. But I mean, they did lose in 7. They didn't get swept in the first round or lose in 5. They had a hard fought lost series, unfortunately, but they did get to the semifinals last year, the league semifinals, not the division semifinals. So that they have accomplished something, but I hope they learned their lesson, because you know what, two trade deadlines ago, they went and brought in Frank Vetrano and they brought in Andy Kopp, who are two guys who are very aggressive, sandpaper-ish kind of guys who get right in the middle of everything and don't take any crap, and they scored a lot of goals and were just physical, mean players. I think that's what the Rangers need to do. It's just I don't think they're very far away at all, the Rangers. They just need a couple of guys like that. That's all. It's not like you can't get guys like that. Okay, their GM just has to be smart enough to get guys who aren't real expensive who can play like that.
All right, real quick. I see a lot of comments, a lot of questions about the Flyers trading picks and players for Bedard. Guys, I'm going to say this right now, and I'm not going to say much more after. The Blackhawks would be stupid to accept any trade package for Connor Bedard. The reason why they were given the number 1 pick, the reason why they were given the number 1 pick is because he's a marketable player in a huge situation where he can bring Chicago back. They're a major market in the NHL. The NHL is not going to allow that to happen. They will be too dumb to give up on a player like him. I don't care what you give up. Kyle Davidson would be run out of Chicago accepting any trade package that involves the number 1 overall pick. It's asinine. It's asinine.
It wouldn't really, but it would make it a longer rebuild for the Flyers too, because now you're packaging all that into one player, and then you got to further build around that one player. I get everybody's sweating his nuts, but come on,
ain't happening.
I will say,
unless somebody by the name of McDavid is going there, I don't think they're trading him.
I don't even think they'll trade him for McDavid, because McDavid's a few years into his career. You're getting a fresh set of wheels.
Yeah, exactly. And even with McDavid, I don't think that would happen either. They need him. They need to rebuild.
To jump on the Mike Hayes saying, what if we were to trade Hart and Coots, Frost, and picks for Connor Bedard? I mean, that's okay. So you take away your captain and Coots, and that's been a big issue for him. But that's essentially what his role will be. Morgan Frost is actually doing pretty decently. You don't trade Hart away, because then what do you do for goaltending? You've just shot yourself in the foot right there. Your rebuild goes back several steps. I know everybody, and he does say he hates to say Hart, but at the same time, it's like you can't trade Hart, because once you trade Hart, what are you going to do for goaltending? Again, a million times over, we said Sandstrom, he's a backup, but at the same time, I know a lot of people were thinking maybe Hart isn't the guy. No, Hart's the guy. It's not his fault the defense abandons him almost every single night. And yes, he's had his moments, but every goaltender has. You don't trade Hart. No matter what, you don't trade Hart, because then you're back to square one, Monday morning quarterback, and it doesn't matter if you have Connor Bedard. We had Eric Lindros for years, Legion of Doom. We grabbed Hextall well past his prime. Did we win shit with him? Fuck no, we didn't. There were other goaltenders out there too, and there was no salary cap back then. Flyers could have hurled money at guys. They chose to go with Hexy, stayed loyal, paid the price for it. Then after that, they were Monday morning quarterbacking after that with Van Beesbrook at the end of his career, traded Boucher away because they decided to go with Czech Manic. You don't want to go back down that path. You really don't. Guys, enough.
Franchise
please.
goaltending is way too difficult to get. You can't be trading
Yes.
for it.
Agreed.
You get it.
Yes. And I understand that there have been teams that have rocked with goaltenders that you wouldn't call franchise and have done amazing things. Not denying that. Colorado did it 2 years ago. Last year with Grubauer. But ironically enough, Grubauer came back to haunt them in the first round. So again, at the end of the day, it's like, I get it. But at the same time, it's like, you got this great goaltender. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. Don't make the rebuild harder than it has to be.
But this isn't even about heart. This is about a market in Chicago that just lost 2 stars, and if they don't get another one,
Right.
the market's going to fail again.
I'm just saying that I was bringing it up because people were bringing up the heart thing, and I was just like, oh, I might as well address that again because I know it always happens.
It's this kid is he's going to bring Chicago back a lot faster than he would Philadelphia. And it's not just that. It's an original 6 market. They want those markets to stay relevant. That's why it's, I don't want to say rigged, but fixed for teams like Chicago to win. A lot of the GMs are coming out and saying now that, hey, something ain't right with this draft lottery. Why is it as soon as Chicago loses 2 superstars, they get another one? That's why. It's about putting marketable players in big cities and cities that need it. Cities like Chicago. Again, you don't put Chicago, you don't put them in Chicago. You know how many blackout games they're probably going to have because they're not going to sell tickets? They've already reached their mark on season tickets for next season 2 weeks after the NHL draft lottery. They're not going to black out at all next year because they got the number 1 overall pick. And again, if Kyle Davidson accepts any package that sends Bedard anywhere else, he's going to be run out of Chicago. Like, he will not be allowed back in Chicago. That fan base will riot. Doesn't matter what the return package is, even if it puts him right into a playoff. He
wouldn't be allowed
spot.
back in the NHL.
He would become a huge laughing stock in the league. Yeah, so I agree, Matty. He'd be a huge laughing stock. It's stupid to even think that anybody's going to give up that pick.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
And the only reason why, Lindros got traded was because he refused to play for the team that drafted him. So unless Bedard refuses to play for Chicago, which I highly doubt he's going to do, because why the fuck would you do that? I think that we're pretty safe bet that Connor Bedard's going to be wearing a black and red Blackhawks jersey moving forward. I think we can safely say
that. I would agree with you.
There's
no way that's happening.
He's absolutely going to. There's no way that he doesn't. Because, first of all, this kid is so humble that it's not even funny. Like, this kid is just going to be happy to play somewhere because this kid has such a love for hockey that it's absolutely disgusting. Believe it or not, he actually said that he started out playing roller hockey and fell into ice hockey. The kid has a good work ethic. He wants to be great, and this is his goal. This is his life. He's gonna accept the contract anywhere, but it's gonna be Chicago, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Kyle Davidson is an idiot, and he's a moron with some of the moves that he made, but he's not stupid enough to accept any trade package for the number 1 overall pick in this year's draft, because he will change that organization.
Yeah, he will. It would be ridiculous.
Before we jump into our second period, was there anything else you guys wanted to talk about in terms of Keith Jones and Danny B getting brought into their new positions and Danny officially getting the interim taken off of his GM-ship with the Flyers?
Just want to say good luck. I'm hoping for the best.
Go get him.
All right, then.
I'm inspired.
So we will jump into our second period, but before that, we do have a little commercial break that we're going to take here. And when we return, we will have the second period for you when we will begin to preview the Eastern Conference Finals. But until then, enjoy this.
Hey Birds fans, the NFL schedule has arrived and Philly Sports Trips has all the details now. Visit the site phillysportstrips.com. This is sure to be an epic season. Be sure to go there now to make sure that you don't get shut out. Join us in Tampa, LA, Seattle, or when we get revenge in Kansas City. Don't want to fly? No problem. Gather up your crew and hop aboard one of our signature boisterous bus trips to DC or New York. Sign up now and make sure to mention A2D. Don't miss out on the best Philly fan experience anywhere. Philly Sports Trip customers always stay at the best hotels and meet NFL legends. Book today.
All right. Some big stuff going on around there.
Sounds good to me.
Some great stuff. Yeah, got some great stuff going on all over A2D right now.
And with that, we jump into our second period, and that second period is brought to you by All Campus. If you're in New Jersey and you want to head on down to the shore, head on down to Ocean City and visit All Campus. And John Coyle, who runs the ramp booth from there, he's got his shop there, and it is a great place to go to if you want to check out your team's merchandise. And he's giving 20% off of everything in the store, including hats, shirts, to all A2D subscribers. So get subscribed up, head on down to Ocean City, say hi to John, and check out the ramp booth. And of course, get 20% off when you want to purchase yourself some of your favorite gear, no matter what your team is. Hell, your team could be like the Hurricanes, like the jersey that Bry's rocking. You know what? You might be able to just get yourself some nice discounted merch of the Hurricanes up there, or down there in this case, at All Campus. So go ahead, check it out. All right, then. And the first period brought to you by eXp Realty. If you're looking to buy or sell a home or looking for a change of career in brokerage, contact Alan Foy at eXp Realty LLC at 302-682-8820 or visit him at alan.foy at exprealty.com. Big move in life. Do it right. Go to Alan Foy, eXp Realty. All right, then. On to our second period. And it is time for us to talk about the Eastern Conference Finals. And before we dive into this, just wanted to make this known, because I'm sure most people know it already. Canada is currently burning right now. It's a state of emergency because it'll be the 30th year that the Stanley Cup will not be in the land of the Maple Leaf, as no Canadian teams made it to this round. Last one Canadian team did, that being Edmonton, and they got their asses exposed by Colorado. But all the same, though, here in the Eastern Conference Finals, Carolina versus Florida. I'm just going to repeat that. Carolina versus Florida. Now, one team isn't a surprise. Yeah. One team's not really a shocker. The Hurricanes are a team that's been flirting with this kind of a run for a while. It was only a matter of time before they get back to the third round. They hadn't been here since 2019 when they got swept by the Boston Bruins. They'd like to make up for lost time, and now's the opportunity to do that. Their opponent, however, it's like Florida, just right the hell out of nowhere, said, hey, you know what? Even though we had a great year last year and we won the President's Trophy, we're going to absolutely just shit the bed in the second round of Tampa. But next year, we're not going to knock off a Boston Bruins record-setting team. And then in the next round, we're going to break everybody's hearts in Toronto by eliminating them in 5 and go to the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, fucking chaos, man. Chaos rules here in the NHL. And I'll be honest with you, I love it. I love every single second of it. It is fucking beautiful. So, gents, who do you think wins this? Do you see the Hurricanes going back to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time since they won the Cup back in 2006? Or do you see Florida finally getting back to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time since 96 when they got swept by Colorado? Who do you think wins this?
All right, when do you guys go first?
I'll go first. I like Florida, guys. I'm going with the goaltender. The better goaltender is Sergei Bobrovsky. I think that it's a very, very close, even matchup. But again, without Svechnikov, now I heard Teravainen might be back in the middle of the series, which should help Carolina somewhat. However, the role Florida is on right now, okay, this team is no joke, okay. If the bubble was going to burst, it would have burst against Toronto. This team is playing just like they did during the season last year. The team is a better team than it was last year, and they won the President's Trophy last year. We all know they have the talent to be this good. It's not a question of them not having the talent. They've just gotten their acts together at the right time. And I mean, beating Boston has given them a ton of confidence. And I have to be honest, Bobrovsky right now, if you're giving out the Conn Smythe Trophy, I mean, you can make the argument, about Hines over in Dallas, and and some of the guys on that team. But right now, with the guys that are left, I think Bobrovsky might just be the MVP of the playoffs. I mean, he's been just brilliant, and if he continues to play this way, Carolina is not a big time offensive team. He could shut them down. And Florida can squeeze a goal in here and there for sure because they're a good offensive team. Just my opinion, guys. I know probably Carolina is heavily favored, as they should be, but I have a feeling Florida is going to the finals.
Sometimes the best team isn't the number one seed. It's that wild card team that just did poorly during maybe the middle part of the season and then got the act together and got a former Vezina winner on a heater. And that's what Bobrovsky's been. I mean, look at the deciding Game 5. 50 saves.
He was unbelievable that game. And when you saw what was going on, you knew Toronto was really going to be in big trouble that game.
Yep.
I mean,
it's a shame. It's a shame. I feel bad for their fan base, but
I don't.
Bobrovsky, come on. They haven't won since 1967.
And it's going to stay that way until the Flyers win one. So you know what? They can keep the longest cup drought. I don't give two flying fucks.
Yeah, no, it's okay because you know what? They took the monkey off the New York Rangers' backs now. So
yeah,
we're not the biggest joke in the NHL anymore as far as time between Stanley Cups. So at least we finally got rid of that. That's gone.
Besides, also, if they do win a cup, man, there goes like 90% of the comedy out of the NHL. It's like, shit, man. Who the hell else are we going to laugh at? And then, unfortunately, that's when all the Flyers fans have to go and hide in bomb shelters then. Because it's like, shit. Now we get to be the butt of every fucking joke. Great.
Just get ready to see a lot of rats being thrown on the ice.
Yeah.
Because the rats are back.
Yeah, they are.
We saw them full blast in the second round.
I will say though, it is funny too how that wound up becoming a thing, all because Scott Millenby killed one and then scored the winner that night. That's just hilarious, that backstory.
And they one thing about sports fans, they never forget.
No, they do.
Even in Florida, they don't forget.
Oh yeah. So, Mean Metal Mike already has his two predictions in, and he has his finals in. So he says Florida in 6, then he says Dallas in 7, and then he goes crazy here saying Florida sweeps Dallas. I'll repeat that. Florida sweeps Dallas in the cup. Red hot take from Mean Metal Mike. In his own words, he added the red hot take there at the end.
Love the take there, though.
I kind of like it. I like it, but I think Florida beats Dallas in 6. But
all right. So Brad's
getting ahead of us.
So Brad has Florida defeating the Carolina Hurricanes
in 7.
And what do you have a length for this?
7.
7 games. All right, so full 7 in this, a full 7 tilt. All right then. Rob, Which one of you wants to snag this one and give your prediction? Well, it looks like Brian wants to volunteer you, Rob.
It's tough. I mean, I've been picking against Carolina for a bulk of the season, and all they've done is prove me wrong. But I just can't pick against the hottest goaltender on the planet right now, and Bobrovsky. I don't want to repeat that same point, but that's my ultimate point. I trust Bob the way he's playing right now more than I trust Freddie Anderson. Has he played well? Sure, but let's not forget he got pulled, I believe, in Game 2 of the Devil series, maybe Game 3.
Game 3.
Game 3, and so there's been chinks in that armor. There's been chinks in Jake Ottinger's armor. Who I think would probably be the second best goaltender it left in the tournament, next to Bob, who's taken that mantle. So, make a long story short. I like Florida, and I like Florida in 6.
All right, then.
Damn.
Brian, do you want me to go or do you want to go?
That depends. Who are you going with? Am I going to be the only guy here?
So, because I just love chaos and I love it being injected straight into my veins, I am absolutely going to roll with Florida. They win this bad boy.
Fuck off.
They win it in 6, and Carolina loses their shit and burn Raleigh down to the damn ground on this.
Damn it.
I thought I was going to be the only one that picked Florida. That's why
See, you can never judge a book by its cover, Brad. No. Shame on you.
No,
Pair-binded will help. He will.
I mean, I thought you guys were gonna. I thought you guys were gonna go against me and pick the Canes. But I honestly, and this isn't because I'm rooting for them or anything else. I just think Florida is going to find a way to win. They've got a lot, and Florida can score.
They can.
I will give Florida that they have over Carolina is physicality. They play a much more physical game than Carolina does, but that doesn't mean Carolina can't hit. I've seen some gnarly hits from the Hurricanes in the last couple series. So we know they can play physical too, but yeah, no Svechnikov, no Turbo. Turbo's could potentially be back like Rob said, or I'm sorry, like Brad said. But the Cinderella story's got to come to an end eventually. And I'll tell you what, Carolina's rolling on all cylinders. They are playing really well on special teams. It's going to be a tough, long-ass series. But in Roddy, I trust. In Brindy, I trust. It's going to be Carolina in 7, and the Cinderella story comes to an end. My big thing too is Tkachuk's not going to stay hot forever. They've been really leaning on him the last couple series, especially the series in Boston. If it wasn't for Tkachuk, they never would have gotten out of the first round. Sure. And I understand that created a lot of momentum. Going into Toronto. Toronto just absolutely fell flat on their face against the Panthers, and Panthers took advantage. I love it. I love the story, but all stories come to an end. And it's going to come to an end this series, and Carolina heads to the Stanley Cup for the first time since 2006.
All right, then.
Okay.
So Bry's rolling with Carolina, and the rest of us are rolling with Florida. And Larry's saying nightmare for NHL. Having Vegas, Dallas, Carolina, and Florida remaining isn't appealing. For Gary Bettman, it is. He absolutely has got to just be happy as hell. He might be jerking himself off to these 2 fucking conference finals when you think about it. Seriously.
Woo! Wow. Oh, I don't know.
Never mind. I'm not going to go there.
Oh,
come on! No one else wants to be across the line with me. Man,
no.
such a loner. But anyway,
you got to get him out of.
I think it's accurate. I think it's pretty damn accurate.
I gotta start having some self-control. So I'm gonna start doing that now.
Who needs that shit?
Overrated.
Anyway, Yeah, Swoopy saying, "Let's go Hurricanes." I love Roddy Brindamore, my favorite Flyer of all time because of his attitude and compete on the ice and in the weight room. I also love his man-to-man, up-tempo, all-out pressure and aggressive style of hockey. It's no confidence. It's no, I'm going to say coincidence.
Probably,
Thank you. That's what I think he meant. Yeah. He was my favorite Flyer on the ice, and now his style is what I love. And he did also say, I'm a huge Alexander Barkov fan too, because he's just a great defensively as he is offensively.
Oh, he absolutely is.
He
There's
is.
a lot. There's
He's
a
a
lot of
stud.
threats in this Florida Panthers lineup. You know, this isn't. It's. I'm not saying that the Cinderella story is unjustified, because it is. You have no chance unless you're in the dance, right? So
Right.
Florida got to the dance after being on the outside looking in. Great for them. Now they're giving themselves a chance to win a Stanley Cup. I love a lot of players on this team. I think they are well built. I think the head coach, Paul Maurice, as good as he isn't Andrew Burnett. And I think the Panthers would have had a better shot at winning a cup. And I think I would have more faith in the Panthers if it was Andrew Burnett over Paul Maurice. Defensively, Florida's really good. It's the offense that scares me for them.
Let me ask you a question, Brian. Do all the ex-Rangers on Carolina, that doesn't scare you a little bit?
Not with the way they're playing and
The ones that were kind of choking players.
I mean, Brady Shea's been really good for Carolina since coming down here.
Brady freaking Shea. Brady Shea, he was the Keandre Miller of the Rangers before Keandre Miller came. And if you guys remember what I talked to you guys about with him, how he has 40 points or whatever it was. I think he had 39 points. Okay. I'm just wondering how many points he would have had for the other team with all the goals he set up by giving the puck away. And that's what Brady Shea used to do with the Rangers. I mean, we were all glad. We couldn't believe we got a first-round pick for him. And that, as soon as he leaves the Rangers, now all of a sudden he's really good. And I don't get it. But don't they have Mark Small too?
No, they have Jordan. Mark's in Florida.
Mark's
Jordan
in Florida. That's right. Mark
and Eric are in Florida.
Yeah, it's a stall versus stall matchup too. That's the other thing as well.
So that there's two more ex-Rangers. You got Derek Stepan and Jesper Fast. I mean, how is it that all these Rangers are still playing? All these ex-Rangers are still playing.
Stepan doesn't play every day, but Jesper Fast had a great second round against the Devils.
He
had
always
a fantastic
played,
second round against the Devils.
He has always played well in big games. He's one of those guys. He may score 10 goals a season, but I can guarantee you those 10 goals would probably either be to tie a game or to take the lead. That's the kind of player he was, and he's a fantastic defensive player.
And I'll tell you this: a lot of people, I questioned it when it happened. The Brent Burns deal that brought him to Carolina.
I didn't think that much of it because I thought he was.
Turns out that's a masterstroke right there. A lot of people did. That's why San Jose got rid of him.
Yeah, and a lot of it was cap reasons. San Jose needed some cap relief.
They did.
Yeah,
he has elevated Jacob Slavin's game so freaking much. It's not even funny. Like, that's a legit first pairing in this league.
Oh yeah.
By the way, that guy Natchez, and Burns.
That guy Natchez has really come up and played great.
This is going to listen.
He's played a great series. Level of play. Yeah, he's really raised his level of play, Natchez. I mean, he's always been a good player, but I think that he was unbelievable against the Devils.
Just skating with confidence, making power moves towards the net consistently. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, they couldn't. I mean, when he got the puck, when he decided it's time to take it to the net, nobody said no. You can't go to the net. He just kept going, and he did it. And he did it in the first round too against the Islanders. He was unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
There's another guy that's been playing great.
Jordan Martinook has really turned his game up too. in the second round. He had 10 points against the Devils.
And they put him on waivers at the beginning of the season.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I remember that because I wanted the Rangers to sign him so badly.
Jordan Martinook is a great
I
player.
always liked him. I didn't know what the hell they were doing at the time. But whatever it was, they got it back. So, damn it.
So Swoopy's also saying a shame Giroux isn't on them right now, obviously on the Panthers. Yeah, that's a shame. Giroux's not there to be getting closer to a Stanley Cup that the Flyers couldn't get him. Larry does go on to say, us hockey fans love it, but the NHL is looking for new fans. Those teams are not going to bring in new fans. They're real lukewarm fans. I mean, I don't know. I feel like when non-traditional markets get far in the playoffs, I think that does help kind of drum up that sort of love for teams. The problem is what hurts those teams in the long run is that they go on these one-off runs and then they go on these long periods of just being crap. And it hurt Florida
Did anybody say Nashville?
for several years. Yeah. Nashville, I mean, hey, Nashville at the end of the day, though, they have that built-in rocking, when the
there's still those fans since that season they lost to Pittsburgh, those fans have still been still come out, and regardless of their record, and they still rock that building.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what really hurts those teams when they get into the playoffs and they do a one-off and they do a great run, but then they go through that long stretch where they're not good. And obviously, we've all seen flash in the pan teams. We've all seen those teams that have that magic run, and then they miss the playoffs the next year, and it's one year after the other. And it's like, okay, obviously that was a fluke. This team isn't as good as they thought they were, and obviously they're not. And that hurts teams way more than getting into the playoffs and getting deep into those runs. If anything, I think it actually helps. It helps in terms of creating new fans, especially in markets like these that you wouldn't necessarily think are traditional hockey markets. You have Dallas, which went through a rough patch, and then they rebranded and they started to build up this new team. Now they're really starting to see the benefits of that build. And then you also have the efforts made in Vegas. Vegas got brought in, and they've made it to their fourth conference final in 6 seasons, which says a lot about the team.
Remarkable. That's remarkable when you think about it. Seattle in their second season. I mean, this was a great run. Remember last night, I'm sure you guys watched the game just like I did. They hit the post twice last night in the third period.
Yep. It was a very tight game 7, especially in that third period. I mean, first 40 was owned by Dallas. That game, I was saying just as we were about to go on the air with Fandemonium or Fan, the new show. I forget what it's called. I
thought it was.
I'm half asleep right now, so. Me and Rob talked about it very briefly. He was saying that Dallas has sucked all night, but that's not true. The first 40 minutes, Dallas owned them. That could have very easily been a much higher scoring affair than it was if it wasn't for Philip Grubauer standing on his head for 40 minutes.
Grubauer was on, but I'll tell you what though, what's his name? The Dallas goalie. He played well last night. He played really well. He was awful on Saturday night. I'm sitting in a restaurant with my family, enjoying Mother's Day. And of course, I managed to get the part of the TV where be facing the TV that had the hockey game on. So I'm watching it, and I'm like, oh my god, did he really miss that shot from 35 feet out? And Ottinger, why did I forget his name? Ottinger just looked terrible that game, and I'm saying to myself, my god, is he going to lose his confidence and then shit the bed in game 7? But he obviously didn't, because he played pretty well last night. He could have had the shutout. He could have had the shutout, but I mean, he had no chance on that goal Seattle scored. I mean, Seattle was going to score. Seattle was going to score hell or high water.
I mean, just Seattle just had so many good chances. Ottinger just looked unbelievable. He was so poised and in control last night.
Yeah, he was. And to see him bounce back like that, I mean, good for him because he played some awful hockey in 2 of those games. He was genuinely terrible.
Yeah,
in 2 games of that series, and yet Dallas still, he when the chips were down, he was there, and good for him. And one guy I was getting on last week, if you remember, was Mr. What's his name now? Now I forgot the guy's name. The center, the old guy,
Jamie Benn.
Ben, yeah, I was getting on Ben because I thought he was playing terrible hockey, and then as soon as I said that, he scored. So he literally is saying, "Take that, Briere. Don't you dare talk about me that way." And then he went and had a pretty darn good series to back it up. They're gonna need him against Vegas.
Larry's saying, "Now you guys are right. All I'm saying is the TV ratings are going to be bad." I see what you mean. Okay.
Nationally, probably.
Yeah, they're not gonna be good. They'll be good in Canada. They'll watch.
Well,
Canada.
ESPN doesn't help anything if they did. Well,
no, they don't.
Of course, Canada
will. They have the worst announcers in the world.
Well, it's not just that. It's just they don't. And I was listening to Ryan Whitney go off about ESPN. ESPN just does not give a fuck about hockey. They don't care. They were on the back burner years ago, and they're back on the back burner again.
To have that guy Sean, whatever the hell his last name is.
What proved that was
that ding dong from Boston. I mean, he's going to be the worst hockey announcer I've ever heard. He's monotone and he's always picks a team, and he's very biased towards one team. He just can't play it down the middle. Too bad Doc is gone. I miss Doc.
I'm actually happy that I believe ESPN doesn't have the Stanley Cup Final. I believe it's TNT. If TNT has the Stanley Cup Final, I think the obviously the broadcasting production is going to be a much better product.
Well, between Steve Levy and what's his name, Kenny Albert, they're both really good.
Oh, I love John Buccigross is
John Buccigross is they're all, those 3 guys are really good. So I'd be happy with either one, any of those 3. I can't stand that Sean, whatever the hell his last name is, the guy from Boston. He's horrible.
Larry said Jack Edwards.
Jack Edwards is the Jack Edwards is the Boston announcer. Okay,
yeah, he's a jackass that said Maroon was fat.
He's a jackass announcer. No, what I'm talking about is the guy that was a sports writer for Boston and in Boston, and now all of a sudden he's announcing hockey games. Are you kidding me? I mean, he's the worst. Sean, what's his last name? McKeckern? Is that
Sean McDonough?
McDonough, thank you, Sean McDonough. He's the worst. I've never heard a guy. I've never heard such an awful announcer as Sean McDonough. He's terrible. I mean, he needs to.
Fires back, he shoots, he scores.
I'd rather hear Jack Edwards, to be honest with you. At least I could get some humor in it.
So that's his name. Okay, I've heard him too. Yeah, he just sounds so disinterested when he's when he's calling the game. It's like, dude, you sound bored. Like, and you're a hockey writer, bro. Like, come on, man. Yeah, you gotta have some excitement.
I'll do it.
Yeah. Oh, the Devils are due to score. Shut up. They are not due to score anything. Yeah. I mean, what are you kidding me?
I'll do it.
As Swoopy's saying, why did Kevin Weeks go to ESPN? That's where the job was. Unfortunately, he had to go to ESPN. But I do like Kevin Weeks, though.
Kevin Weeks is good. I like him too.
I do like him. Yeah, I would actually say, why don't you give Kevin Weeks a shot? Let him do some friggin' announcing. I'd deal with it. I would rather be listening to Kevin Weeks all day than McDonough.
Kevin Weeks will wind up spoiling something that we don't need to already know.
That's a good point. You're right.
Wiki Weeks.
Yeah.
I see what you did there. Well done, Rob. Well done.
Wouldn't you rather have Jack Edwards? If you're going to take a guy from Boston, take Jack Edwards. At least as much as I can't stand the guy, whenever I watch Boston, he's funny as hell. He does kind of make you laugh because he's so biased and so over the top. You know,
I hate Jack Edwards. Ever since you said that shit about Patrick Maroon, I'm like, no, like, really? First of all, you're a professional hockey broadcaster. You need to have some kind of class. Second of all, you're going to go after a guy like Patrick Maroon and call him fat on the air?
That's a bad
idea.
I
know it doesn't seem like much, but, dude, show some kind of class.
And you know what? If Patrick Maroon wanted to go up there and whack him in the head, he'd be dead.
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
He's not a guy to be.
Fact of that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be talking that way about. I wouldn't be talking that way about him on with a microphone.
No,
not when you're a broadcaster.
No, not at all.
Maroon cut his teeth on. Maroon was known for being a nasty SOB out there on the ice when he was playing for the Blues. So I wouldn't be fucking with him.
He's been like that his whole career. So
yeah. Hey, what's up, Chrome?
Hello, Chrome.
What's going on, brother?
What's up, Cromer?
He goes on saying, I love the hiring of Keith Jones due to such a smart hockey mind, and he's seen so many games and talents over the years, which is pretty much what everybody's been saying here on the show. So, yeah, very spot on there, brother.
I truly do wish you guys the best of luck with him. I just don't know. I kind of like the little old man with the gray hair being my GM that's been through the wars. I don't know. Maybe it's because of myself, but
So
the
GM of the Dallas Stars,
or someone who may be follically challenged. No offense, Bo.
No, I was available for the job. I never got the call.
No, you know.
That's a shame. That's a real shame because you know what? Rob would have turned that team around. He absolutely would have.
Need an AGM, Rob? I got you.
I think he needs.
Well,
I think he's waiting for the Mets call.
Right? Yeah, I am.
The Mets call.
Yeah, it might be coming sooner than later after games like tonight. But Grover, if you're just joining us, right? What I can't bring, what Keith Jones does bring, is a connection. Connections he's made as a broadcaster, doing his work, his pregame work, getting interviews, right? You know, he's a charming dude, joking around or whatever. He's got a lot of connections, and that's what he brings that Danny B doesn't have. And I think the two could be a nice tag team.
Everybody likes him. The whole league loves him. I mean, he is kind of a beloved guy at this point. You know, nobody particularly liked him as a player. I remember Richie Pilon made a comment about him. But, everybody, but he likes him now, and everybody seems to like him now. They couldn't stand him when he was. They couldn't stand him
he
when
was an instigator. That's why.
Yeah. He was a little stink pot.
Right.
Yeah.
Judge was a known shit stirrer back in the day. Hell, when he was playing for the Capitals, and all the guys in the dressing room did not want to play the Penguins that year, and Jonesy had just gotten there. He's like, "Why the fuck are you scared of these pansy asses?" And he literally tortured the Penguins that entire fucking series. So it's just like that was Jonesy for you. He also I think he forearmed Marty Brodeur in the head after he scored on him one time, which was also pretty cool too. So
well, you know what? I never saw that, but you know what? If that really happened, then you know what? My whole opinion of him has changed.
I don't know if it was much of a forearm as far as he was just getting to the dirty area, but still.
That's why I used to love. That's why I used to love Avery, because Avery used to piss him off so bad. He was such a jerk. I mean, he got everybody angry. He ended up getting cut from the Rangers because Tortorella couldn't stand him anymore.
You know that's bad when Torts can't even stomach you.
No, yeah, Torts can stomach any. As a matter of fact, he could not only could he stand anybody, he would love the pleasure of just benching you just to piss you off, but he couldn't deal with him at all.
Oh man! So let's see here.
My God.
Swoopy saying, by the way, last week I meant to say that Dallas had 3 draft picks from the same draft in the first 39 picks. Miro went first, And two of the guys that should have been drafted way higher, Ottinger went 26th and Robertson went 39th. And I think that's a good segue.
Wow.
Time out.
From,
Time out. I just need clarification on something. Sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, Maddie.
No.
First overall or first by Dallas?
I think
Miro Heiskanen was not a first overall pick.
I think he meant Miro as like the first guy they grabbed.
That's what I'm thinking. But I
Okay.
said, just need to make sure I get clarification on that.
Yeah, because I don't recall Miro being number 1 overall either. So
He was 3 or 4 when he was drafted.
still though, pretty high.
No, of course. I just, like I said,
Their
clarification.
first round pick.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's see here. On to the third period we go. Brought to you by FanUp, the best way to enjoy fantasy sports. There's a reason why we hype Rob up as a man who can turn teams around, because this man has built himself some nice fantasy teams in the day. And if you want to build yourself a dream team for fantasy sports, you can do that. They have daily NBA contests as well as MLB ones. The NHL, of course, when the season rolls around and is in high gear, they do fantasy hockey as well. They do the NFL. They do everything, basically. You can win great prizes. You sign up today. Use promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points. By the way, that's $50 normally. But if you use the promo code A2D, you get 5,000 bonus points right off the bat. So you save $50 with that. So that's a pretty good deal right there. All you got to do, download the app at fanup.app and start earning yourself some cash. Play some fantasy sports, do some daily contests, earn yourself some extra cash on a side hustle. Nothing better than winning yourself some money. And all you got to do is pick some players and throw out a great team. That's all you got to do. All right, then.
Easier said than done.
Easier said than done. But let's be honest here.
Unless you're this guy down here.
Right, unless you're Rob. Rob's the mastermind over there.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. You know what I mean?
What? The real masterminds? As good as this guy is down here? Check out Nate Money Moss Sundays.
Oh,
Doing
yeah.
the Money Pot Podcast. He's going to win you some motherfucking money.
Yes, he will. Those guys are spot the fuck on. All right, then. Moving on. Swoopy did clarify it was 3rd overall when they picked Heiskanen.
Yeah, like I said, just want to make sure. Clarification on my part. So I stay in,
Swoopy saying, can you guys see Brian Boucher finding an office job somewhere in the future? Honestly, I wouldn't mind Boucher being a goaltending coach. I mean, he was a great goaltender, so I would kind of roll with him as my goaltending coach, more so than an office position.
I already saw it on the Goldbergs.
Yeah, that's true.
But he played a former Flyers GM from 1980 something. But no, I think Bush is gonna be part of the next great broadcasting tandem in hockey.
I do love Bush on the broadcast. He is fun.
And that's why I don't think he would ever get an office job, is because he is so good at being
He'd be good with Jim.
Not a sideline, but being between the glass.
He'd be good with Jim Jackson.
You good with Jim Jackson?
He's worked with JJ. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's my pick to replace Keith Jones. Scott Hartnell doesn't have the chops.
Anybody could be good with
studio.
Anybody could be good with Jim Jackson, though. Jim Jackson is a legendary broadcaster.
And I was very happy to hear that JJ was doing some of the playoff games. I'm like, oh my God, it's JJ. Yes, JJ's here. Thank God.
Yeah, he did a couple on TNT, right?
Yeah, he did the Florida Boston series. Unfortunately, he was broadcasting the blowouts that Boston were winning, of course. But still, it was nice to hear him.
Yeah, I mean, ESPN couldn't have gotten him.
The ESPN, like Bryce said, ESPN doesn't care about hockey, so they're not going to make logical hires. So,
right.
They don't give a shit about hockey. They got major contracts with NFL, MLB, NBA.
And yes,
they're all on the front side of the stove. The hockey's on the back burner. That's why you see more hockey games being like the game last night. It's essentially game 7.
Right.
They had it aired at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
10 o'clock. I get it's more of a West Coast game, but still, like, you couldn't figure out a way to get that to air at 8.
And the game they showed in it, the game that they had on for some reason was a baseball game between the Cardinals and some fucking team. I forget who they were facing.
Boston. It was Sunday Night Baseball.
It was,
It was Sunday Night Baseball.
And it was a blowout too. It wasn't even a fucking game. So it's like, well, why the fuck would you even have this broadcast? Who gives a fuck? It's so early in the baseball season. Who the fuck cares?
But that
you still got how much time left?
That's Witt's point.
Right.
That's Witt's point. Everything else is more important. And I get it. But here's my thing. Why in the world would you buy a product just to put it on the back burner?
Oh, well, it's real simple. Because they don't want NBC to outdo them in the ratings. They figured hockey will outdo them in the ratings. Very subtle move and very evil. But, hey, that's how it works in the world of the U.S. broadcasting world.
Think about it. Just think about it. During football season, I get it. Football is the biggest sport in this country. I get that.
Right.
How many baseball games are aired on ESPN a week? A couple, right? How many basketball games are aired on ESPN? A few.
Yeah.
Probably at least one a day.
Yeah.
How many hockey games?
One a
Maybe
week.
one a week. You know where the rest are? ESPN Plus, where not everybody has it.
Nobody watches. Nobody has ESPN Plus.
The only people that have ESPN Plus have the Disney Plus package because they want a Hulu.
Right.
Me.
So, Wolf of
I don't
Odin?
get ESPN Plus.
Wolf of Odin, Philly Wolf 90, $2. Thank you for that. Thank you very much, brother. We appreciate that. And he says, future of our Flyers is bright. # fly or die. That's what I like to fucking hear there, my brother. Very well said. Very well said. All right, then. And let's see here. Swoopy also saying, Boucher could end up taking Jonesy in both spots. Do Flyers besides JJ and JJ ABC still do national TV too? Interesting. Actually, yeah, that's true. Bush could do that, honestly. And I'd be totally fine with that if he started to do the NBC Sports Philadelphia games with JJ. All right, then. So we go to the Western Conference Finals. That's what we were supposed to be talking about. And on one hand, we have the Dallas Stars, who unfortunately had to just ruin the fun. They had to shit on the party while it was going on. Seattle could have continued to just fuck everybody's bracket up, and everyone could just laugh their asses off at it. But, oh well, Dallas just had to do it. Anyway, Dallas wins in 7. Moving on to the Western Conference Finals. It is the first time they have been here since 2020 when they went in the bubble in Edmonton, and they actually defeated this very same team that they're going up against in the Vegas Golden Knights. So we get a rematch from 2020. Vegas, of course, it's their 4th time in 6 seasons since they've come into the league. Last year they didn't make the playoffs, so they that left a nasty little taste in their mouths. This year they're back with a vengeance, and they've been riding high. They got through Winnipeg in 5. They defeated Connor McDavid and broke Canada's heart by eliminating the Oilers in 6, and now they're here again. So, boys, do you see Dallas going back to the finals for the first time since 2020 and beating Vegas again here? Or do you see Vegas getting revenge for that 2020 elimination and trying to make up for lost time after only being in the finals in their very first ever year in existence?
I'm going to go first this time.
Okay.
This is interesting to me because of the repeat of 2020. Dallas hasn't really changed too much. Vegas hasn't really changed at all. Now, a lot of people kind of ruled Vegas out after Robin Lanier went down for the season with his injury, and I was definitely one of them. I didn't even think Vegas was going to get to the playoffs without him, and you know what? They did a great job with what was his name, Logan Thompson, for most of the year before he got hurt. Yeah. addressing the goaltending situation at the trade deadline, bringing in Jonathan Quick, which surprisingly he hasn't dressed yet. And then this kid Brussois getting through the first round struggled a little bit, and they had to bring in Aiden Hill, but Aiden Hill looks pretty good in his couple games. Goaltending carousel continuing for Vegas. Now for Dallas, they're getting a lot of success because they're getting a lot of success from the young guys. Jason Robertson being the guy. He has not really shown up much in these playoffs. He has been pretty non-existent. I think he only has 2 goals, and both of them came on the power play. I think both of them came in the first round. Some of the younger guys have stepped up. Wyatt Johnson being one of those guys. Very big on that kid. He's come up in some huge situations. He had a huge goal in game 7 last night. As actually, I believe it was the GWG that he sealed in a 2-0 game or a 2-1 final. He's been really good. The thing for Dallas here, and I think Dallas does wind up winning this. I think history does repeat itself as much as I want my bracket to be right. I think goaltending is what it's going to come down to. Both teams play physical. Both teams can score. Both teams are going to wear each other down. Both teams can score on the power play. Both teams can kill off penalties. And I think this is going to be one of the more evenly matched conference finals that we have this year. I think it's going to be the same on the East. These teams are going to wear each other down. Both play physical. It's going to be a matter of who stays out of the box. I think Vegas has the better power play than Dallas, but Dallas can score. They got guys that can do it. It's going to come down to which goaltender is going to stand tall. It's going to come down to which goaltender is Vegas going to go with. Are they going to go with Brussois? Are they going to go with Hill? Do they dress quick? We know who the goaltender in Dallas is going to be. It's going to be Ottinger the entire way, like they have from Jump Street, as they should. I think Dallas is going to wind up winning this series. I think it's going to be Dallas and Carolina in the Stanley Cup Final. And I think this series, again, is going to go – well, I shouldn't say again because I got the other series going 7. I think this one's going to go 6. And I think it's going to be Dallas. I think it's going to be a repeat of 2020.
All right, then. So you believe that Dallas will take care of business and will win it again and get 2 victories over Vegas to go to the Stanley Cup Finals. That would be a rough
in 3 years.
Yeah. That'd be a rough one for Vegas to swallow after having had to swallow a very nasty bit of humble pie in 2020 because no one saw Dallas go into the finals that year. Especially Vegas when they got there. So, but it'd be interesting to see if that does happen. Wolf Voden is saying that Dallas will lose soon. He does say that Vegas will get revenge and win the Stanley Cup for the first time. So he has Vegas not only winning the series, but taking the cup. And he also says both teams are deep in their respective rosters, that they are. And he does say that Robertson needs to pick it up because he was pretty lazy in the series versus Seattle. Robertson has been on MIA, and that is something that you don't like to see. But that's also meaning that maybe the kid's going to blow up here in this series and make something happen. Sometimes that does happen where a guy goes missing in a series, other guys pick up the slack, and then all of a sudden he pops up in the next round because the other team can't handle him like the other team could. Sometimes that does happen where, one player gets covered well by one team, not so much by the other. And Mean Metal Mike saying Dallas, Florida with Panthers winning, as he said before. And he said Dallas in 7 games like he said before as well. So Dallas still in 7 for him. So Bry's picking Dallas. Mean Metal Mike is picking Dallas. Wolf Voden is picking Vegas. Robbie, out of these 2, who do you see going to the Stanley Cup Final on the Western side?
Well, Vegas has a loaded offense that knows what to do with the puck. They got a lot of high-powered offensive players, right? So, but on the other side, the Stars, they play that big physical defense. That defense first, take advantage of mistakes, score when need to, and really wear down their opposition. to Brian's point, it's going to come down to the goaltenders and who's going to step up and make that big save when required to. I really liked how Jake, as a younger goaltender in this league, responded to adversity in these playoffs and came back with a shutdown performance. He has my faith again, and I think ultimately he's the difference maker in this 7-game series that sends Dallas to the Stanley Cup Finals.
All right, then. Brad, who are you feeling?
Well, the last time they played, there was one difference. There was no Eichel motorcycle.
That is true.
Okay. And, he could be the difference. He's been playing pretty well in the playoffs. However, it is the thought process here that the Dallas Stars are a little better defensively. They should be able to keep Vegas from getting to the front of the net. I like their goaltending. I'm not sure about Vegas's goaltending. If Thompson were playing, I would be very, very confident in their goaltending because Thompson had a pretty good year until he got hurt. But he's not there, and I just don't know that they're going to be able to score enough against Dallas to win this series. Edmonton scored plenty of goals against them, but Edmonton defensively is not good. The difference here is Dallas defensively is one of the best teams in the league, and I just don't see Vegas beating that team. I don't really care who's got the home ice advantage. I think Dallas is a bigger, stronger team, and I think they end up winning the series in 7.
All right, then. And Pete's saying evening. What's going on, Pete? And he agrees to the poll. Me Metal Mike does say Vegas has missed its chances in with the Western Conference Finals. I will say in the Western Conference, I think the thing that will ultimately do Vegas in, even though Ottinger has had his moments where he has looked human and he did get rattled a little bit, but he circled the wagons. He came back, and he really started to lock it down and get that confidence back in him, and he relaxed. And when he did, he took care of business, and he got the job done. And I don't want to say that Vegas couldn't win without a goaltender that's a solidified starter, but again, I kind of feel like that's what's going to do Vegas in. Yes, Aiden Hill played very well in that second round, and the round before that, Brossoit played well. I can't take that away from them. I can't. But at the same time, I feel like I think that at the end of the day, it's finally going to do them in. Not having Lanier and not having Thompson, I think now it's going to pay the dividends for it, where Dallas will make them pay. And I think Dallas will get the win. I think they'll win it in 6 and go to the Stanley Cup Finals and beat Vegas twice to represent the West in the Stanley Cup Finals.
I mean, go, Robbie.
I just think the wild card here is Jack Eichel.
He very much is. I can't take that away with the offense that he brings and the fact that he has been a major powerhouse for Vegas, not just in the playoffs. He was a powerhouse for them during the regular season too. And that this guy he knows that this is his best shot at getting a cup is with this team, and he's really going hell-bent for leather with them. But even so, if Dallas can find a way to frustrate him and shut him down, and if Ottinger is on his game and can snag his shots, yeah, you're not going to stop him all the time. But if you stop him most of the time and he starts getting frustrated and Vegas starts getting frustrated, it could lead to Dallas taking advantage.
All of this is true, Matty, but I just wanted to say wild card and Vegas in the same sentence.
Totally understandable. I understand. It is a very, very understandable thing.
In honor of Doyle Brunson, R.I.P., he passed away this week. I think 90.
Spectrum Business Services are essential to our business.
Choose Spectrum Business for your business. Get fast, reliable internet starting at $49.99 a month.
Yeah, 90 even. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Almost. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, rest in
89,
peace.
89. No, was 89.
Oh man,
You don't know who Doyle Brunson is. He's Texas Hold'em legend.
Ah.
Man, probably won a lot of money.
Yeah. Little bit.
Little bit.
I would
Texas
hope
Dolly.
so. Hold'em legend.
Wolf, don't
So
feel
let's.
too bad. I'm the only one who thinks Carolina is gonna beat Florida, so don't feel too bad on that. Let us know who you got repping the East because I may have missed it.
Yes.
Who do you got in the finals?
You definitely
Also,
throw that at us, brother.
The thing that's impressed me the most and why I think Dallas is actually going to wind up beating Vegas is, we talked briefly about it, is Jake Ottinger's poise and control in net. That's one thing that has really carried this team, and he's looked shaky in a few games and very human. But when it comes down to it, when it comes to the games that matter, this kid has so much poise and he remains so calm. And when he does, he is really unbeatable. And we saw that last night.
We did.
Seattle didn't just, come in and lay a goose egg. They came in and they battled. It was a really hard fought game 7. It was, what was it? Nothing going into the third period before Dallas finally broke through. It was a really hard fought game. Seattle had a ton of chances, and Ottinger just looked good. You think Grubauer looked good? Which he did.
He did.
Ottinger looked better, and obviously
They also hit the post twice in the third period.
Yeah, so it's
very unfortunate. I mean, it just wasn't. It was not meant to be for the Seattle Kraken last night.
No, it really wasn't, and you know what? And that's okay. But this Dallas team, if they can get Jake Ottinger to remain that poised, that calm, that in control. Yeah, there's not a whole lot Vegas is going to be able to do against them. As to Rob's point, as high powered as that offense is, and how good Jack Eichel has been this season, because he's back to 100%. You can see the way he plays. This is going to be a great series. I think this is going to be a much more fun series than the series we got in 2020.
Yeah. And Metal Mike saying Fleury, Lanier, Thompson, Subban, Brossoit, Quick. Vegas has a list already of goaltenders. Yes, they do. They've had their own goaltending carousel since they traded Fleury away.
Well, they really have.
And let's see. Wolf Voden saying, I got Carolina, actually. They've been absolutely incredible these last 2 seasons. See, you're not alone, Bri.
Hey.
And Metal Mike saying Ottinger versus Bobrovsky will be a fun cup. That would be a fun cup, though. Between those two, a young pup in Ottinger with all that poise, like you were saying, Bri, and Bobrovsky, who's just an old war dog who just will not back down, and he's taking his team by the scruff of the neck and just saying, you know what, we're going to the finals. I don't give a shit whether you like it or not. We are going to the fucking finals. It literally seems like that's what Bob's doing right now.
And it does, because you know what? Like, that momentum from that first round coming all the way back is carrying that Florida team. And I'm not taking anything away from that team and how good they are, because they are a very good hockey team. And Paul Maurice is a good coach. But, it's momentum runs out.
Right. It can. It did happen to Seattle in the previous round.
I mean, they're an 8 seed, technically.
Yeah, the equivalent of same.
I know we're seeing it in the NBA with the Heat getting to the Eastern Conference Finals and the Lakers being a 7 seed who are down 99 to 80. Well, I'm sorry, 101 to 81 to Denver with about a little less than 3.5 minutes to play in the third. Sorry, Ralphie.
He's losing his mind over on the channel. Be sure to tune in to Ralphie's rants.
Oh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait until we're done, because I'm going to jump in there. I'm just going to poke the bear. No pun intended, because Ralphie's built like a bear. Florida's a really, really good hockey team, but 8 seeds. There's a reason why not many teams win in an 8 seed. It's not that they're not good enough. It's just they're just not the best team. And yeah, as much as I agree with Rob, sometimes the best team isn't always, the best team in the playoffs. It's the hotter team wins. And to me, right now, as hot as Florida is, Carolina's hotter. And they're doing it without their two best players.
Right. Not the rally around there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
What's up, Tommy?
Hey,
And
Tommy.
Wolfone saying, do you guys believe we can restructure these large contracts? We can't lose Carter Hart after next season or TK. Well, that, my friend, is that's the big real challenge for Danny right now. He's really going to have to take a good long look and see where he has to make some slashes and maybe even throw a buyout. I don't know. It's going to be a big challenge ahead of Danny right now with these contracts. And let's see. Memail Mike says keep Hart and TK. Yes. And Wolfie over here follows it up with poor Ralphie. Denver might win their first NBA championship. After winning the Stanley Cup for the third time last year, holy shit, that would be it'd be a couple of big years for the city of Denver.
I mean,
Be a city of champions taking over for Tampa Bay.
I'm gonna tell you this, like from what I've seen, and I'm gonna use some of this to poke the bear with Ralphie. Lakers are missing too many easy shots. Denver's making everything that they're putting up.
Anthony Davis is a snowflake. Just saying.
He really is. He really is. Like I would just poke fun at him before, but actually like, watching him play, he is SAWFT soft.
All right then. So we end our third period, and we will jump in to the shootout segment for everyone in overtime. And that is brought to you by Alonzi Travel. If you've got a vacation destination that you have had your eye on for a little bit, or you wanted to plan something special for the family, or just get away from all the bullshit of life, listen, sometimes you just need to go to your happy place, wherever that happy place is. Alonzi Travel will get you there, specializing in creating the vacation of your dreams at Disney, Universal, or wherever your heart calls you. Let their talented team of travel experts create a custom vacation for you, and you don't have to have the added stress of actually planning the vacation. They'll just take care of that for you. You just pack up and catch your flight. That's all you got to do. Oh, and also say hi to Ritz and Chucks from A2D Fam. They'll definitely help you out over there.
Yeah, definitely reach out to those guys. Listen, of all the guys, if you're going to set up a Disney vacation, I can't think of two guys that are better, that know that park better than those two.
Right.
Just don't go with Chucks. He gets a little out of control. I've seen the videos.
Well, if you're going to be a little kid, you might as well be at Disneyland.
Listen, I love it. I love Chucks' enthusiasm when he's in Disney.
So, gentlemen, the shootout segment. Start this off. Oh, just also wanted to throw this out there, a little around the league note. The vote for Arizona's arena got done today. So,
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So we'll see if the Tempe thing works out. The most we're assuming it'll be a yes, but the official vote was today. Anyway,
they haven't released it yet?
I don't know if they've released it yet, to be honest with you. I haven't double checked that to see if they have. They might have.
Real quick.
Is 100% of the vote in?
That's a good question.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
It's like, actually, they decided to vote on...
Did the Democrats throw away any ballots?
Is Florida still voting in this?
Yeah.
No,
boy.
They haven't released anything yet.
Okay, then. So, yeah, but the city of Tempe will make their decision on whether or not the arena will be a go. Most are assuming it will. So, we'll see.
I have my doubts.
If it winds up not going through, holy shit, what the fuck do they do then? What do you do then if Tempe don't work out? But anyway, all right.
Houston or Quebec?
Oh, Bettman will find something to do to keep him there.
He'll
Just
move them
seems like
right
he's
into
determined. He's determined.
He'll-
He'll move them into his backyard
right. He'll move them.
and make a rink.
Does Donovan McNabb still live out in Arizona? Maybe they'll move him into his backyard.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, then. So let's see here. Shootout topics. Start this one off. Matchup of the round 2. So, gentlemen, what was the series that you loved the most out of this?
That's pretty easy.
Then go ahead, Brad. You go first.
Oh, Carolina destroying the Devils.
You know
Not
what?
only-
That is yes.
Not
Well
only
done,
did I,
sir.
not
Well
only
done.
did I mean, that's just too easy. Not only did I enjoy every second of it, but I just laughed at the fact that, yeah, the Devils, you're so wonderful. What are you going to do? Put a big pennant in your arena? Oh, we beat the Rangers. That's going to be your that's instead of a Stanley Cup champion banner, you're going to have "We beat the Rangers" in 2022-23. Congratulations, guys. It doesn't mean crap if you don't at least get to the semifinals like we did last year.
Well, either way, we knew that a red and black team was going to win that series. So
Yeah,
all
the right one, the right red and black team won. I've never rooted so hard for Carolina in my life.
The one with the silver.
Yeah, a little bit of silver thrown in there. You are
Yeah,
right.
that's okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Oh,
That's true.
I will say, at least Carolina did do that and threw in a very not normally seen color into the scheme. That I do like that. But anyway,
I was
What's
rooting
crazy
for them
is how
so
shiny
hard.
it is.
I was rooting
Really?
for them so hard, Carolina, that when that guy was blowing the horn, I was yelling, "Let's go, Canes!"
Oh my gosh.
in my living room.
you went
No,
full
let's go, Canes.
you went full blown Raleigh
I went
native
full.
right there.
I hate the Devils. There you go. Absolutely.
Agree to
I mean,
agree.
and you know what? Not only did they lose, not only did the Devils lose, they were humiliated and embarrassed in that series. So
They really were.
And just to remind all you Devil fans, we beat Carolina 3 out of 4 times this year, and we beat them twice in Raleigh. So big deal. You beat us. What happened against them?
Oh.
I know the Rangers wouldn't have gotten smoked like that.
All right, so let's see here. Me Metal Mike saying round 2, Florida crushing Toronto fans' hopes and dreams was a great laugh.
Oh,
I
boy.
will throw out my round 2, and honestly, my favorite series out of round 2, yeah, it was that. I couldn't help it. It's like, you know what? I just have to laugh at you guys. It's like you worked this hard to finally win a series, and then you completely piss away a golden opportunity and lose to Florida. It's like, good job, boys. Very Toronto of you to do. You're never winning this fucking cup, are you?
Curse.
Oh, man. Wolfie agrees with them, too. So there you go. Everybody's agreeing that, you know what, Toronto, go suck a fat one. You had a golden chance, and you flushed it down the toilet.
Yeah, and the final indignity is going to come after next season when Matthews says goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah, that core 4 is going to be a core 3.
Yeah, a lot of shit's going down in Toronto in this offseason. Not this. Even this offseason too, because there's going to be a lot of shit they're going to have to take a look at moving forward. But anyway, Rob, what was your favorite second round matchup?
Man, for me, it's got to be the 7-game thriller between the Stars and Kraken. You know, it came all the way down to Game 7, and befitting of the whole series, a hard-fought 2-1 victory for the Stars. It was just it was a good story with the Kraken and just an evenly balanced series. It definitely got to be my favorite of the second round for sure.
Very well done.
I'm with Robbie. That was the series of the second round for me too. Just hard fought, physical. Not a ton of goals scored, but it was a very fun series to watch, very back and forth.
Yep.
And very intriguing series that I thought it would be, and it lived up to the hype in my opinion.
Felt like
And
old
you know
time
what?
hockey.
Can we give
Uh-huh.
Can we give Dave Haxtell a little credit? By the way, what a
Yeah.
job he did coaching that team. I mean,
Mm.
and really they don't have a heck of a lot of talent. They just do it with effort, and they also went and got a lot of fast skaters, which helps.
You
too.
know what this Seattle team reminds me of? The early 90s San Jose Sharks. A team that didn't
That's a
have
good
a lot.
comparison.
Yeah, they didn't have a lot of the big names, but you know what? They upset the Red Wings one year in 7, and then they did it to Calgary 2 years later. It's like, that is hilarious. They wound up shitting on 2 teams. It's like, you know what? You got to love it. You got to love it when a team does that. It's hilarious to watch.
Was that the era with Pat Falloon?
Yes. And I believe the captain, was it Rod Langway who was captain? I think it was.
Was that the Sauvé year? Jean
Yes.
Sebastian Sauvé, yeah.
Yes.
Or no, Jaguar. It was Jaguar, right?
No, not Jaguar. Nah.
No.
No,
Sauvé
one
then.
Jaguar. Yeah, that actually. Hold on, was Urbe on the team by that point? I don't think
In
Urbe
the 90s,
was.
I think it was Urbe.
It was Urbe. Yeah, that's right.
Urbe.
Yeah,
Arthur Urbe. I remember him.
He was a little guy.
He was.
Yeah.
But he was actually a pretty darn good goaltender. It's just he wound up being on some rough teams during his NHL career. Anyway.
Mike Greasy, Vincent Dompoos was on that team. Actually, they may have been a little bit later.
I don't know if Rathje was on the team by that point, but yeah, that was a fun San Jose team. Larionov was on that team. I do remember Larionov being there. But yeah, that was a fun San Jose team. Just like this Seattle team's fun. It's a team of guys who put that effort in. They don't stop. They don't quit, and they just keep pushing. And if you take your foot off the gas for 1 second, they're going to beat you. And that's exactly what happens. But anyway, moving on from there, Wolfie's saying seeing Edmonton fail again was also very entertaining. And typical Canucks dork 666, I love that name, saying we almost burned down our city after losing the cup to Boston. Oh, yes. Everybody remembered that. That was big front page news that Vancouver was completely rioting after the 2011 Stanley Cup Final.
You know, that was a classic series where one team just wore the other team down by hitting them, and they ran out of gas in Game 7.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
Is it me because I'm watching the Nuggets and the Lakers right now? Are the Nuggets? How are they making these shots? I mean, they're throwing up some shots that are going in that are just. How is this possible?
I was literally thinking the same thing. I don't think they've missed a shot in a while.
I mean, that shot Jokic made at the end of the third quarter, that 3. How the hell did he make that shot? I mean, Davis was all over him, and he was a good 5 to 10 feet behind the 3-point line.
I'm pretty sure the dude that just hit that 3 a minute ago, I'm pretty sure he was almost sideways.
Yeah, that's the one. That's
there.
the other one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Watch out for the Lakers. They're making their move now.
So, since we already did our predictions for the Western and Eastern Conference Finals, which was the other shootout topic, to finish this off, let's see how we did in our predictions for the second round, and then we'll close this bad boy out. So, I predicted that Toronto would be Florida, so I got that one wrong. That's an L. And then I also thought the Devils were going to be Carolina. That's an L too. I thought that I did pick Dallas to beat Seattle. So, okay, I got that one right. Even though my heart wanted to say Seattle, my conscience said, you'd be dumb if you did that, right? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So I rolled with Dallas. And then I did pick I picked Edmonton to beat Vegas. So I went 1-3 in my predictions in the second round. So I did great in the first round. Man, I got my ass kicked in the second round. How did you guys do?
Not much
Terrible.
better.
Terrible.
I think the only one I got right was Dallas.
No one I got right was Vegas.
Yeah, I think Edmonton.
Oh my lord!
I mean, let's be real. Who thought Florida was going to get this far?
Nobody.
Nobody.
So they blew up
Who
a
thought
lot
Florida
of
would?
brackets.
Who thought Florida would win more than one game against Boston?
Right.
Exactly.
Let alone win the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like that's my point. That's
Yeah.
exactly my point. Like who thought Florida was going to get to the Eastern Conference Finals here? I thought Carolina was going to be a second round exit because I thought the Devils, after gaining would have a ton of momentum after playing the Rangers. Carolina smoked them.
Yeah.
And I thought Minnesota was going to pull the upset on Dallas. Boy, was I wrong.
Nick Jesus failed me again. Why have you forsaken me?
Because they have no 5-on-5 playmaking ability and they have no defense or goaltending.
Right. But I believed in Skinner.
Skinner.
Stuart Skinner. He was looking the part. But he came up short.
Skinner is not the one. It's not the goalie that you want out there to win a Stanley Cup. They've got to upgrade.
Once in a while, you stumble into. You'd think Edmonton would eventually stumble into somebody.
Yeah.
You would think,
Why
right?
stumbled into freaking Michael Layton to get him to a cup?
Why did they say? Why did they sign? They could sign Halak. Halak is a free agent.
Michael Layton took him to a Stanley Cup final. Like you don't think Jeff Skinner or Stuart Skinner could have done the same thing? I think Skinner's better than Layton. I'm better than Layton.
Actually, probably most people are better than Michael Layton. I could go find a toddler, and he could probably make better saves. He could probably cover the 5-hole better than fucking Michael Layton. But
I know a bunch of strippers working at a club right by my apartment that have a better 5-hole than Michael Layton does.
Oh, that's great.
Oh boy.
Like the Jack Nicholson gift.
Wolfie was saying I predicted Boston to win the whole thing before it all started. I failed.
I failed too, brother. I failed too.
Typical Canucks dork saying we lost in '94 to the Rangers. Yeah, Brad remembers that one fondly.
Oh, I sure do. Oh, wait a minute here.
The call heard around the world.
Just so that you can see. That would be the Conn Smythe Trophy.
Nice.
What was that, Leach who got it that year? Who was that? Who has it?
You just
Graves?
Yourself.
No, that was Leach. Here, wait.
Oh, it was Leach. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the Conn Smythe Trophy that he posed with.
That's right. It's number 2. Yeah, it is Leach. Okay.
Yes.
All right, then. So let's see here. Meme like say Winnipeg is in the first round. Shame. And then Florida goes on a run. 3 cups because chaos.
You and Maddie are going to be best friends just because you threw the word chaos out there, and that's how he lives his life.
If we say it enough, maybe it'll actually happen, and the whole NHL will burn. And it'd be like, holy fuck. That means that anything's possible. That means the Flyers could win a 3rd cup. That's what that means. So anyway. All right.
Know.
So that will wrap up this edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. We thank everybody for tuning in and joining us. Of course, all the regulars, Swoopy, Me, Metal Mike, and the rest, thank you very much. Also like to thank some of the guys we hadn't seen, like Larry coming back in. Thank you for joining us once again. And a typical Canucks dork. Hopefully you can hit like and subscribe here for A2D. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter. We have Instagram. We have everything, brother. If you want to catch in on some hockey action, we're here every Tuesday at 8:30. We cover all sports too. So if you like other ones as well, you can always join in for that. And Wolf of Odin, thank you again, brother, for the $2. We appreciate it very much, and we hope to see you next week. All right, then. And who was that signed by there, Bri?
Jacob Slavin.
I need a handkerchief because I'm sweating, yo.
I have another one. Real quick before we sign off, let me go get the other one.
Okay, then.
Jacob Slavin, the most underrated player in the NHL.
Facts, Pove.
There you go.
straight fact. I gotta get a frame for this one.
Okay,
If you
so
can- if you
opinion.
can tell me
Do you
who this
think Paul
player is.
Bissonnette's gotten better, or do you think he's gotten worse?
Where is he?
Oh, nice.
Ah,
37.
there you go.
Who wears 37 for Carolina?
Nice.
Jacob Slavin.
No, he's 74.
Yeah. He's 37. Wait a minute. 37. Svechnikov? No, he's 26.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Andrei Svechnikov.
It is Svechnikov. Okay.
Yes, it is.
There you go.
That's hot.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Perks of working for a company that's a sponsor for the Carolina Hurricanes.
Nice.
There you go.
Very nice.
There you go. All right, then. We thank everybody for joining us for this edition of the Hockey Happy Hour once again. We are brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, Dr. Paul Vidal. If you got any aches and pains, give the doc a ring, or actually go online, www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Make an appointment, head either to Cherry Hill or Burlington, New Jersey, and get yourself fixed up and not have those aches and pains anymore. Next week, we will be back into the thick of it. By then, the conference finals will be in full swing, and we will see how it shook out, whether or not a team got swept or whether or not we've actually got some interesting battles to see who wants the Prince of Wales and the Clarence S. Campbell Bowl. Until then, guys, we'll see you then next week right here on a2dradio.com. Until then, peace and love, everyone.
Go check out Ralphie.